Welcome, everyone, to our Impact of Business Coaching podcast. As you know, often, frequently, we have interviews, as many as possible, with business coaches we know are doing great work. You can find us on Facebook Live and LinkedIn and YouTube. And we also have replays of these interviews with our business coaches, and you can find those on those same networks. So they are recorded versions once we get off our live, and you can find them, and they're available to you to get some of the really incredible wisdom and experiences that our business coaches have. So with all that, we try to make these short and sweet and packed with information and stories so that you get the most out of it. Business owners are busy, so that's what we want to do. For the audience, where are you from? Type it in the chat. If you have questions, we'll try to get to the questions. Normally, we kind of get off our live, and Vonzel can step in with some of the comments and answer questions too at a later time. So with that, let's get right into introducing our guest. Our guest is Vonzel Sawyer. He is a business coach in North Carolina. And I'm not going to tell you all about him. I'm going to let Vonzel do it. So Vonzel, hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Scott. Good to be here today.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Because we keep these episodes packed with, jam-packed with information, hopefully, and pretty tight. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about you a little bit?
Yeah, so just a real quick background. I am actually was born in Japan, lived all over the world, military family. And so I've always enjoyed business. Business has always been great. When I first went to college, the first thing I asked them is, how do I become wealthy? And they sent me to a guidance counselor to say, straighten this young man out. He doesn't know why he's here for school. And so I went on I said, well, let me study what I really enjoy. So I actually started studying biblical studies, believe it or not.
Very good.
But I ended up in the administrative side of it because I still love business so much. So I went to different corporate businesses, went to school, got an undergrad degree and everything. And I ended up at Sprint Telecom that was bought out by T-Mobile just about a year and a half ago. And I got into all types of stuff, customer service, sales. I went all over the place, technical management, then I found something called product development, marketing and product development. Loved it. Did a lot of what we call matrix management, and that's when you manage people that don't report directly to you. But I learned something there, and that was business was about relationships. And so I've gotten into community development, put systems in place, figured things out, started all types of places where you do customer service. And I found out that that's not as easy as it looks. Ended up being an executive director at a nonprofit and just went on to do more leadership and business coaching. And I really didn't know about it at first. What happened is a client came to me who wasn't a client yet. And they said, you're doing a lot of great work. And I said, yeah, I'll help you out too. And they said, well, we'd like you a little more exclusively. Can we pay you? And I went, oh, okay. And that's how we got started.
Oh, that's brilliant. Why do you love coaching so much?
I think it's about the relationship and business coaching, especially because it's about your relationship with something that is not that you want to become something. And that creation, that ability to take your thoughts, your visions, and then watch that entity grow into its own momentum and into its own way of doing things is so interesting. And again, how can you meet as many people, doing something like business coaching? So it's really great.
So tell the audience how I know we know a lot of business coaches, and they all have they approach it in a slightly different way sometimes. Some people are traditional 5-pillar business coaching, etc. How do you specifically approach business coaching?
Yeah. So in business coaching, normally the way I do it is I either approach businesses on a one-on-one with someone in the C-suite or the business owner, or it could be actually someone who is in the development area of an organization. And sometimes it's one-on-one coaching. I really have fallen in love with what I call group coaching.
Okay.
In the areas of leadership, executive coaching, operational coaching. I have a pretty strict criteria when I look at companies. They have to have a certain annual revenue and a certain amount of employees. I tend to go with the service industries more in the profit, nonprofit, and the public area.
Makes sense. Yeah, I was going to ask you if there were specific business niches, but you've kind of sounds like instead of specific business niches, you're more the size of the organization. Is that right? And you do a wide variety of business niches, or kind of clue us in on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I do a wide variety. Normally, like I said, service industry, not so much manufacturing or anything like that. Do some product development, but normally it's software type of things,
Okay.
things like that. And so normally the business has to be somewhere between 250 about 3 million annual revenue.
Right.
There are a few that are higher, but what I found is I have to get to a point where they're either very much in trouble or they've done so well and they just don't know where to go from there.
That makes sense. Yeah. They're either out of control or out of control. So
Yeah.
since we all love stories, tell us if you can a client story, about a challenge or solution benefits, the things that you kind of evolved through with your relationship with a client to help them achieve something that they wouldn't have without your help.
Yeah, so I have a really fun story. I went to an organization and they wanted to start a nonprofit that would begin to actually supplement what they did as a business. And I said, okay, we can do that. And they said, well, we don't have any donations and we don't have anybody that knows how to apply for a grant. So I said, no problem. And what we were able to do was in less than 1 year, we achieved about $50,000 in revenue for the new nonprofit, and without applying for any donations or getting any grants. And let me tell you, the gist of the story was this. We became what I call the group you wanted to be around all the time. And somebody says, what do you mean by that? Well, we went to much larger nonprofits that had great budgets, and we said, we'll work with you to do what you want to do in the community as another nonprofit. And they said, well, what does that mean? They said, we'll wear your t-shirts, we'll push your name. We don't want any type of credit for anything we do. And so what happened, word got around. This group doesn't silo. They don't speak about themselves. They only talk about you. They lift you up. So all of a sudden we became the hot commodity for being the group that everybody wanted to work with. So they started writing us into their grant budgets where we never had to apply for a thing, nor did we have to supply any type of reports afterwards. And so we were able to do that. And that was pretty cool because we became known for being the best servers.
That's a good story. That's great. Yeah, that kind of transformation. I think every business owner wants to know that if they're going to get help, they can have pretty significant transformation. And that's, I know that as obviously the title of our podcast is clearly lets everybody know that we're big fans of business coaches. Any big 1 or 2 tips that you find in your back pocket is just always help the business owner that maybe you can share with those watching our podcast?
Yeah, I think, and I think you will resonate with this well. One of the biggest tips I can tell somebody is do not be a copy of your competition, whatever you do. Let your internal strengths be known externally. That's one of the biggest tips I can say is, I mean, you have several employees that each have experience in what they do with over 75 years experience. And that's not the thing you talk about.
Right.
Yet that's the thing that people love.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You're able to make unconditional guarantees. Why? Because you do things faster. You do things smoother. You have better customer service. Your follow-ups are better. If you're in construction, you clean up afterwards. My point is find what makes you different and let everybody know.
Wow. That's good advice. Appreciate you sharing that. How do you work with clients? Take us through, like, I'm a stranger. I have some level of interest in working with you and I want to explore it. Tell me how that works.
Yeah. So what we normally do is, I talk to people. I have a software that I use that helps automate things. But one of the things I try to do is I query your business. I try to find out what you're about, what you're doing, where you're going, who you are. And I look at businesses like yours and talk about what they've been able to do. what we've been able to help them with from a strategy and tactics standpoint. But I really try to find out where you're going first, because if I don't find out where you're going, then that's what we got to work on first. Where is your vision? What's your mission? What are you trying to accomplish? The other thing I try to really do with people is take the jargon we use in business and break it down to simplicity. I think sometimes we use the jargon so much and acronyms and things like that. We really don't give a chance for people to just to understand, what is a P&L? What is a balance sheet? What are all those things? What's a marketing message? How do you do those things?
That's awesome. So where can we learn? Where can business owners learn more? How do they contact you?
Yeah, so I have a website called Top Revenue Coaching, and also on Amazon I have a book of Top Revenue, and also I'm on Twitter at twitter.com revenue_top. Also on Facebook, but if you look up Top Revenue Coaching, I'm probably going to be there somewhere.
Well, great, Vonzell. As always, it's great speaking with you. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. I know it helps business owners. I've seen it firsthand. We are a product of coaching. In fact, I've been a product of coaching my whole life. So always encourage business owners to get coaches and work with coaches. And it looks like I think our business owners would be well served to contact you and start that process.
Yeah, and I will tell you, one of the things that you said is one of the things people ask me, well, I'm glad you know a lot about stuff. And I say, yeah, but I have a business coach myself, believe it or not.
Yeah. There you go. Practice what you preach.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Vonzell. Great talking to you. And I'm sure we'll have you back on at some point. But and as always, as you know, let us know how we can help you too.
Scott, I appreciate you so much and what you do for the community.
All right. Take care.